Hey guys, so I'm told that the ban list is out, which is really crazy considering that YCS Philly is going on right now, as well as I think UK Nats, and I think it's pretty rare for them to really release this on a weekend. I can't remember the last time this happened, so you know what, let's just get right to the reaction, because so far I only know the one card that was on the link image that my friend sent me. So going from here, effective June 5th, so I guess that's, still over a week away, so that's not too bad. So let's see, first here, Cyberstein is banned again, so I think this makes sense. I specifically remember Pac being one of the ones to predict this. I'm sure there's a lot more too, but it kind of made sense with the super heavy samurai, and being able to bring out exterior really quickly, and I'm kind of surprised that it ever even came off the list. It's usually not very great because it's typically involved with FTKs. So let's see if Mind Hacker, I believe, is the only one that I'm aware of. Oh, that is crazy. They're limiting Scarecrow already. I'm kind of wondering how, this is one of the quicker hits to a new deck from what I recall. Definitely, there's been some, but I mean, this has only been out for like, a few weeks now, so it's pretty crazy. No other links though, I guess that kind of makes sense. And so this is the only one that I knew of coming into this prediction or reaction rather. Mind Hacker. I think this is like a really easy one that almost everyone predicted, right? I mean, it just kind of degenerate, like having to essentially play multiples of something in your extra deck that you otherwise would never have to, and also having to buy these extra cards that might be kind of costly. Really not healthy. Of course, there's always Unicorn in terms of Kashtira, but it's not going to be as proactive in terms of being able to banish from your extra deck. So I'm really glad this is gone. Maybe Expulsion is another one that's kind of common that people were clamoring for, and I guess because Gimmick Puppet Nightmare was not on there, so maybe they did ban Expulsion. So here, I actually just talked about this in my regional top cut breakdown video, where with a pointer I was saying, with Red Reboot being banned and this being really sacky, and technically in a deck, I guess, like if you play Alan Bertian Mathmech, I can search it, but I don't think a lot of times they don't really go for that, but or maybe they do. But I'm glad it's gone. And Expulsion is banned. That's so funny. I was just we were just talking about that. Again, it's pretty kind of a straightforward in a way. I mean, technically, I personally thought maybe they would just ban the Gimmick Puppet because, or no, rather, I honestly can't even remember at this point. I've been flipping back and forth in terms of what I thought would happen. But you know what? There is still a Sanctifier Dragon, but it's a lot more vulnerable, and that one can also only special from Grave, whereas Expulsion can also special from Banished, which is really key because essentially, even if they were to ever, call by the grave or whatever, eventually if you are still in the game long enough, you can still loop it constantly. With Tragedy, it's essentially an unlimited amount of loops, so it's crazy. So I think that's good for the game that it's gone, even though I play Bandit myself. Blaster is finally back to 1. Anytime I do my ban list prediction surveys, when I put, what card will most likely become, come back to 1, a lot of people always put Blaster. I never played during this format, but curious if it really does anything. This is kind of a big list so far, actually. Oh, wow, they hit Circular, which is funny. I'm kind of surprised. I think it kind of makes sense. A lot of people were, I don't know if I should say a lot, some people were clamoring for it because it was a very, very consistent deck, and Cyberse being Cyberse, pretty generic and gets a lot of support over the years. I'm really surprised they did hit this already though. I thought that, like, yes, it's a good deck, it's not like the best deck, but I guess they really want to just keep a lot of decks in check now that they've hit, Branded, Kashtira, and even Super Heavy Samurai already. What the heck? Gamma to 1? Interesting. So this is another one that I sort of thought, I actually thought they would put it to like 2, just like, OCG, as well as I believe Master Duel, it's also at 2. It sort of makes sense. I mean, at this point, no one's going to play it, right? Like, why would you play 1 Gamma and 1 Driver? That's just, well, maybe some decks could, if, I guess, like, pure side frames, I don't know. But this is interesting. I think it's also means that, let's say it's a deck like Super Heavy Samurai where you couldn't really draw them on their first side if they didn't have any monsters, because you might just get Gamma and you get extra punish. I think it sort of prevents that, and it just makes, like, tier 1 decks usually stronger than what rogue decks would be with Gamma. So, you know what? It's kind of understandable. It's definitely a kind of weird hit, but the fact that they even put Gamma to 1, I know they didn't put Shifter or anything. Maybe it's a 2, I'm not sure. But I think I'm kind of hopeful that maybe one day they will also hit Shifter at some point. Let's see here. Danglong is back. This is another card I think a lot of people are always clamoring for. This is kind of interesting. I guess, at this point that maybe Harpor is still not back. But again, this is another card that I wasn't playing at the time. But you know what? It's cool that they're actually starting to peel off a lot of the new cards. Oh my god, okay, they're hitting Kashtira. Actually, I just realized they didn't really hit Kashtira Fenrir or Unicorn as like to 1. Maybe they hit it to 2. I'm not sure. Probably not. So I guess they're just hitting it in a different way through the extra deck. Charizard to 1. Does that make a huge difference? I guess like the grind game is kind of gone. But you know what? Realistically, their turn 1 board is still going to be kind of nice. Although, of course, they did lose that Mind Hacker, which is definitely a huge one. Definitely, especially in the more recent days where they've kind of gone back to turboing that out. Even, you know, despite the potential for being nibbed, I think it really comes back and forth. Let's see. Wow, we have wow, they're hitting these new cards so fast. Delicious Memory. This one is the one with like the stat boost, which can make it really hard to get over that Noir. I'm really surprised that they're hitting these new decks so fast already. It's pretty interesting. Maybe it's a fresh new change for Konami, and maybe they'll do this moving forward. We used to always say that, oh, these cards aren't going to get hit because it's too new, and now that kind of logic might be out the window, which is kind of nice, actually. Whoa, okay, Sacred Tree to 1. This is kind of interesting. This might have made more sense maybe like before you know, Cyberstorm Access, because Nachira Runic was really one of the best decks. Right now it's not. It's definitely gone down in play, as you would have seen in some of my tier list videos, because of course, you know, again, something like Superheavy Samurai, if they turbo out like, let's say, Spell Canceller, or let's say with Purrely and just being unaffected by activated effects, it wasn't that great. But I'm surprised actually now looking at it. I know Runic has gone down in play a lot. I thought they would still hit that rather than the Nachira side of things, but I guess they thought otherwise. So a lot of hits so far, definitely a lot of things that people didn't really think of. Herald of Orange Light. I actually, in my prediction, I thought this would go to 3. So I'm kind of on the right track there. I think, especially with, you know, the Shizu stuff just being put to 1. I think it's still okay. Like, if Eva was still around, then that would not be okay. I think that was really toxic. But, oh, they did hit Unicorn. Okay, so I guess I kind of thought maybe they'd put it 2. So, you know what? Okay, that's kind of a start. Surprised they made the semi-limited list a lot bigger than normal. Like, usually it kind of made sense with just, like, Mali, for example. So, you know what? They're really hitting things out there. What the heck? Lightning Storm? That's kind of weird. That's really weird. So, I mean, you know what? It's a good card. If you see my top card breakdown videos, it's usually kind of up there in top 10, but it's never really one of the most played cards anymore. So this is kind of surprising, actually, to me. Pot of Desire shirt. Oh, they did hit Runic Fountain. Wow, I need to stop talking so ahead of myself. So, okay, you know what? To 2. Does that really make a big difference? Not really. I mean, lately they've all been playing at 3. When initially with like Runic Sprite, for example, a lot of them were actually playing it at 2. So I don't think, you know, a lot of the Runic players probably won't notice it too much, I guess. Oh, wow. Engage to 2. I feel like GGYGO probably been predicting this for quite some time. So I'm surprised that Harp Horror can't come back, but Engage can come back to 2. I guess, I don't know. Maybe Harp Horror right now maybe gets a little too strong. I'm not too sure, but of course they hit my Spright all the time. This is like the 4th list in a row now. They keep hitting Spright, which I get. But you know what? They keep making these small consistency hits with Spright, especially except for that Elf Band, which is definitely huge. But you know, clearly they've shown they're very resilient and can do really well. Although lately, I'm not really sure why too, but the play of Spright has gone down a lot. I guess maybe like you might as well play Superheavy Samurai in that if you're gonna play Spright essentially. So you know what, Spright Shredder to 2 definitely will hurt. You do still have E-Telly that you're probably gonna have to play for sure now. It sort of serves as a pseudo E-Telly. Actually, never mind. I take that back because now Gamma is at 1 as well. So that actually makes it really difficult. So yeah, that's kind of strange actually. It becomes very, you know, normal, especially going second, it becomes even harder because if you like pop that normal summon, for example, now you're probably really gonna have a hard time playing Spright. So let's see here. Blackwing, Seeing the Cloak is now unlimited. So you know what, this was originally hit, you know, prior heading into Master Rule 5 as kind of like a precautionary measure. I mean, Blackwing, I don't think they've really been doing anything. It sort of came popped up in play a little bit during that tier format. I mean, for the most part, it was because of Darkwing Blast that came out and gave them some support, and they did have a little bit of, you know, like it would basically burn like 1400 for every like monster effects. So with tier, like it was kind of hard for them, but at the same time, you know, it's tiers, they're very strong. So yeah, I think that's fine. Gen X Alley, Birdman, I didn't really play during this time. I can't really talk with any of these. Oh, Spiral Quick Fix too. Wow, this is a blast from the past. Quick Fix. Spiral, you know what? The last time they were tier 1 was essentially actually just before COVID, the pandemic happened and everything closed down. That was a tier 1 deck along with Salamangreat and I believe Shadal Invoke, because that's when the structure deck had came out a little, like about a month prior to that. So you know what? That's interesting. Recital Strong, I think that's fine. I mean, really, it came back to 2 recently. Draco Face-Off, that's another card people were thinking about in terms of, you know, card coming off the list, at least for the past like couple of years. So you know what? It's back to 1. And multi-roll is now at 3. wow, Sky Striker players are having it really nice. This is actually a really strong card. So yeah, engage to 2 and this to 3. That's pretty nice. And who knows? Maybe this means we start seeing the Sky Striker as a package more so again. You know, I thought they might actually hit the one that creates tokens. The name's escaping me at the moment, but yeah. So you know what? I'm not really fond of seeing like Sky Striker being splashed and everything, but at the same time, for pure Sky Striker, it's really good to see. So you know what? That was a crazy ban list. This I think has one of the most total number of changes in quite some time. So you know what, June 5th, it's about a week away, so it's interesting that this is happening during YCS. I wonder how they're feeling right now as they're playing. So thanks for watching. I'm very excited for this new format now, and so yeah, take care guys.